Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 cent video for this week, for the week of January 26th to February 1st, 2025, where I take a look at a couple of stories that kind of caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion. And there are 4 stories to cover, including 2 big ones, to be exact though. The big one being the announcement that Forza Horizon 5 is actually now coming to the PS5. We also have another one, the Shakeup at those in charge of the PlayStation brand at Sony. Phil Spencer made some comments about the Xbox Series S and the whole partial clause, or you gotta bring it to both the Series X and S and everything like that. And of course, an interesting rumor in regards of the possibility of Doom the Dark Age coming to the Switch 2 and all. And if you're interested in where I got a source of these information, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube and all. But before we get started, I would like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 cent stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. The first one has to do with the fact that there is now a report coming out that Phil Spencer actually played a big role in the creation of Ninja Gaiden 4 and everything like that. And if this report is true, I think that's great. I think it's glad that he managed to push to get that game out and everything like that. I do hope that Ninja Gaiden 4 is a success, and maybe this can open the door for Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja to bring back maybe some of their other IPs. Like, I would like to see Winback make a comeback, or Crimson Sea, or even Rygar for that matter. And who knows, maybe Phil Spencer will weigh in that, maybe Nintendo or Sony or something like that, but it would be nice to see those games coming back. But in either case, it's certainly, I'm glad that he was able to push to get Ninja Gaiden 4 happening and everything like that. We also learned that the creator of the Final Fantasy games is working on one last game, but I think supposedly before he retires, and supposedly the next script is already done. No word on what this game may be or what platforms it's going to be on at this time and all. Certainly he's had, since leaving Square, he's done like numerous type of games, from The Last Story, a game that I would like to see ported over to the Switch and everything like that, to the cult classic The Lost Odyssey that was from the Xbox 360, which I'm playing on my Series S and everything like that, to Blue Dragon and everything. And I think Fantasia was recently released on the Apple Arcade, and it's now making its way over to other systems as well. So definitely had a very good history, especially after leaving Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix and all. And I'm curious to see what his next game might be. We also learned that supposedly there is a trademark filed by Sega for Skies of Arcadia. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not this means we're getting a new entry or a remaster or remake of the original Skies of Arcadia. It was originally released on the Sega Dreamcast, but there was a port brought over to the Nintendo GameCube, but has never been released on other systems outside of that. And the characters have made an appearance in the first Valkyrie Chronicles game, when that game was released originally back in 2008. So it will be very interesting to see if this series does make a comeback. We have seen Sega started to dig more into their IP, so I will say there is a chance we could see a Skies of Arcadia come back in some form, in some capacity. Maybe this opens the door to other IPs or something like that from Sega, but time will ultimately tell. We also learned that apparently there are those on eBay that are selling those Switch online tickets and everything like that. Basically, for those who purchase those tickets or who are on the list for those who go to this experience, for people to try out the Switch 2 and everything like that. It's not really surprising to see this though. I'm not sure you would want to spend money on it though. It's particularly the price point and the fact that supposedly I don't think you're getting a paper. I think it's like digital or something like that. So yeah, it's not surprising to see this though, but I wouldn't spend the money on it. At least that's how I would take a look at it though. We also learned that the Nintendo 64 library on the Switch Online service has been expanded this week with the release of Rig Racer 64, basically being now available on NSO and everything like that. I remember hearing about it or seeing an ad for it, but I never got to play it or anything like that. So it was certainly nice to see this make an appearance. Not to mention, this one was handled by, I think, Nintendo Software Technology. I think they disbanded after the whole debacle with Project Hammer and everything like that. So very nice to see this though. Maybe this opens the door to the possibility of Bandai Namco to consider doing another Rig Racer. I mean, time will tell if that happens or not. We also learned that basically Summer Game Fest will be returning this year for this June and everything. So obviously that's there to replace E3 that sadly, unfortunately, was killed off, which is a bit unfortunate, indeed, but times certainly have changed and everything like that. But still, I'm curious to see what will be shown at the Summer Game Fest this year. We also learned that Nintendo of Japan will basically no longer accept PayPal or foreign credit cards going forward from now on. Obviously, there are going to be some folks that are not happy about this, especially if there are certain games they want to get through the Japanese eShop and everything. So pretty much that may be a hurdle though. I do think they sell some cards through Play Asia that you could add to like your Japanese account or something like that. So I think that still might be possible. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, not great for those who wanted to use their credit card or a PayPal account and everything like that. We also learned that supposedly, at least a report from somebody on X, reported that basically Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown sold 1.3 million sales and everything like that, which depending on how you want to look at that, some might view that as decent, others may not. Some of that is basically reported that Ubisoft felt that was not enough, although some of that will depend on what expectation Ubisoft was setting. But yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate. I enjoyed Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, but unfortunately, you can point to a lot of reasons how that game flopped. Some of it is some of the decisions Ubisoft made that really, let's just say, they kind of shot themselves in the foot and everything like that. So yeah, not really surprised what happened here and everything like that. We also learned that the core team that worked on Dragon Age Veilguard has basically moved on to other studios in EA. Some of the developers have, while others have moved on to working on the next Mass Effect, titled Mass Effect 5. That one might be years away, as most of us might wait for that game for a while and everything. Obviously, Dragon Age Veilguard got sort of mixed response to some folks. Some liked it, some didn't. But despite that, at least according to EA, the game did not meet the expectations that they were hoping for, though. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens when Mass Effect 5 comes out. And if that game doesn't perform very well, it wouldn't surprise me if EA decides to pull the plug on BioWare in its entirety. Then again, EA has been known to buy studios and pull the plug on them very easily and everything like that. So we'll have to wait and see about we'll have to wait and see what happens with Mass Effect 5 and all. We also have some reports, at least with the Xbox, that seem to indicate some good and bad depending on how you want to look at it though. On the good side, though, it believes that their multi-platform release has made them a top gaming publisher. So at least on that part, they seem to be doing very well, making money and everything like that. But at the same time, though, their hardware sales have still continued to decline, even though their content and services has grown at all. So it's kind of an interesting situation Microsoft is in. They are making money though, but as far as their hardware, it's not doing as well as not doing as well as some have hoped for though. But Microsoft still doesn't seem to be fazed by this in any way. So clearly, depending on how you want to look at it though, this could be viewed as both either a good or a bad thing for Microsoft. And last but not, we are also learning that the CEO has signed in on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, pointing that the game has surpassed 4 million players on Xbox and PC. So obviously Microsoft, at least according to them, must be pretty happy with where Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is. And there has been some reports that Disney has expressed interest in doing more Indiana Jones games. So who knows, we might see another game down the road. Whether Microsoft, Bethesda, and Machine Gun Games does the next one or not, that remains to be seen. And last but not least, a report from Insider Gaming has been reported that Multiverse will be officially shutting down. That was that Super Smash Brothers take from WB Games with all of their IPs, basically in like a free-to-play free-to-play fighting game and everything like that. It basically went off. It was first, I think, early access and went offline. Then it became released again, and now it's not doing very well for them and all. On the other hand, WB Games has not been in the best positions or everything like that. The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League bombed really bad for them and sort of ended support for that game, although that one does now have it now has an offline mode, so there is sort of a silver lining with that. But in either case, those who enjoyed Multiverse are probably going to be disappointed to hear how they are basically shutting down that game and all. And finally, in the movie and TV show part of the My Two Cent, we do have some reports coming out about what people should expect from the ending for season 2 of Solow. Now, I'm still watching it. I haven't finished the season yet. A couple of things have popped up, but clearly, though, I mean, it will be very interesting to see how this one ends and how they go into season 3 and all. We also have a report about Andor Season 2 and how supposedly there were talks about the idea of doing 5 seasons, but some of it had to do with the budget in terms of the viewership for Andor and all, and they seem to have cut it down to 2 seasons and all. I'm not sure how they would do 5 seasons. It's clear that there's going to be a point where it ends, where the series comes to an end and it begins where Rogue One happens and everything like that. So not really sure about how they would do 5 seasons and all. We also learned that Doctor Strange, or played by Benedict Cumberbatch, if I'm saying his name correctly, apparently may have made a mistake in terms of his comment. There were reports coming out that he would not appear in Avengers Doomsday and everything like that. There were reports that he was not going to be there, but he was going to be in Secret Wars. But it seems that may not be the case or anything like that. Now, it is possible he could still be wrong and everything like that, but but for now, it does seem to indicate he might appear, Doctor Strange might appear in Phase 6 or Avengers Doomsday and everything. And last but not least, we have sort of a lawsuit being filed over the release of the upcoming James Gunn Superman movie and everything like that in other countries. Now, whether this lawsuit is handled before the movie comes out or not remains to be seen. We know the movie will be out July 11th. I don't know about in other territories or anything like that, but clearly, obviously, WB wants to probably want to handle this lawsuit as soon as possible and all. Okay, with the Quick My Two Cent and the movie and TV show part of the Quick My Two Cent now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Doom: The Dark Ages. Now, I'm sure most of you remember last week during the Xbox Developer Direct, we saw more footage and everything about Doom: The Dark Age, learning of some stuff such as how they're not going to add multiplayer and focus squarely on the single player, which, as someone who enjoys single player games, I think that's a great thing and everything like that. And I will say I do have a lot of respect for the Doom series. I consider it the granddaddy of first-person shooters, along with Wolfenstein as well. And it's definitely one of the games that is certainly on my radar indeed and all. Now, as far as it coming to other systems and everything like that, we know it's coming to the PC, and we know for certain it's going to be coming to the PS5. Now, there has been questions of whether or not this game was going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch or the Switch 2. After all, the first 2 games, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, did make their way over to the Nintendo Switch and everything. So, but when the trailer for Doom: The Dark Age showed up, it only mentioned PS5 and basically, Xbox Series X and S, Game Pass, and PC. Well, a recent rumor seems to indicate the possibility that basically Doom: The Dark Age could be making its way over to the Nintendo Switch, providing this rumor is true and everything like that. Oops, let me get this one. Let me get it out. I apologize for it though. But anyway, in a report from CBR, it reads that quote, known leaker EXTAS1S has reported that Doom: The Dark Age may be set to come to the Switch 2 sometime in the near future. This leaker also said he's been told something that will make many Doom and Nintendo fans gasp. He then went on to say it hasn't been revealed because Nintendo doesn't want us to see it yet. How the article says, however, this is a rumor and should be taken with a grain of salt. Nintendo has not announced any games for the system, including its own, unless you don't want to count the Mario Kart game that was shown during the Switch showcase, which many believe that's Mario Kart 9 and everything like that. Assuming this rumor is true, and this is a big if, I don't want to say it's 100% accurate, 100% for sure this is going to be the case though, I wouldn't be surprised to see Doom the Dark Age make its way over to the Switch 2 and all. And the fact that they're claiming it will come out in the near future most likely means that it will not be released around the time the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S version, which I'm not entirely surprised at all, considering the fact that Switch owners like me had to wait a little bit longer for certain versions of games to make its way over to the system. Like, I think Witcher 3 came to the Switch years later. First Doom and then Doom Eternal eventually made their way over and everything. So that would not surprise me if that is the case. But to have Doom the Dark Age make its way over to Switch 2, that's going to be very interesting to see how well that game runs if this rumor is true. Remember, for those who played Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 on the Nintendo Switch, while I do think that port is impressive and Panic Button, the developers behind that version, should absolutely deserve the credit, there was no going around the fact that there were certainly compromises in order to get that game to run properly, ranging from dropping the resolution to the frame rate from 60 to 30 frames per second. So it will be very interesting to see if Doom the Dark Age does come to the Nintendo Switch, how the Switch 2 version will run. Will it be able to maintain 60 frames per second as the other versions? Are there going to be some graphical changes or anything like that? So it's going to be really interesting to see if that is the case. As for, do I think it will probably come to the Switch 2? I'm currently right now leaning towards the most likely answer to be yes. While we don't know until we hear an official confirmation, given some of the comments Phil Spencer has recently made lately, including them wanting to bring a lot of their games over to the Switch 2, I would say odds are definitely in favor of Doom the Dark Age making its way over to the Nintendo Switch 2. Again, we don't know if it's official or not, but I definitely am leaning towards it will most likely happen in my view. But hopefully maybe April 2nd, when this so-called Switch 2 Direct does happen, maybe we'll finally see what games have been announced or at least confirmed to be coming to the Switch 2 and everything like that. Maybe this could be one of the games, maybe not. So time will ultimately tell. So overall, I would say no doubt that this is a rumor, but given Xbox's multi-platform approach and everything like that, and their statement about the Switch 2, I would say, and I stand behind this, odds definitely favor Doom the Dark Age coming to the Switch 2 and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with comments made by Phil Spencer in regards of the Xbox Series S and everything. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at the Xbox Series S and some comments made by Phil Spencer and all. Now, when the Xbox Series X and X came out back in 2020, I went with the Series S. Many would consider to be the budget console of the next generation at that time and everything like that. And I do enjoy my system and everything like that. I do think the Xbox Series S is a good system, especially for what it's trying to aim for. Not to mention, I am subscribed, to Game Pass Ultimate, and I mean, Game Pass does have its ups and downs. There are certain things I like about it, and some things I don't. Like, I know some people may not approach like the idea of the Netflix style of approach, but on the other hand, you could argue that it gives you the chance to try the game out and determine is this worth your time and money you're willing to pay for it, though. Not to mention, you can get a discount if you decide to go in and buy the game while it's still on Game Pass and everything like that. But the Series S has also had its share of criticisms as well. As much as I do enjoy the system, there has been some questions ranging from how some of the games are ported over to the Xbox Series S, like lack of a 60 frames per second, to the whole situation surrounding Baldur's Gate 3 last year, where basically they had to remove the split screen in order to get the game running on the Xbox Series S, although supposedly now they're adding it to the Series S and all. And then there was, I think, one complaint from the developers of Gotham Knights about the Xbox Series S as well. And there's been some debate over, or some people, shall we say, calling for Microsoft to drop the Xbox Series S entirely. And when this was asked on a video when Phil Spencer was being interviewed by Dustin, he basically disagrees with that argument and everything. In an article from GameSpot, it reads that, quote, the Xbox Series S has faced its share of criticism, but Microsoft isn't pivoting away from the console. In fact, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer believed the Series S is part of what helps differentiate Microsoft in the market. The apparent clause at Microsoft is that mandate developers support both the Series X and S for gaming coming to that platform is not going to change, he said. Speaking to Destin, Spencer said that Microsoft has a real advantage right now thanks to the Series S because some of the most popular new platforms, including Steam Deck and ROG Ally, are more in line with the power and performance specs of the Series S. There's been some rumors about the possibility that this could also help, the Switch 2 as well. I've heard there's been some rumors about that too. According to what Phil Spencer said, quote, when we look at something like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, we got this Xbox Series S version of the game that is more tailored to those device specs of a lot of devices that are getting introduced right now. I think that helps us. He said, going specifically mentioning the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. For what it's worth, Spencer told Gamertag Radio that he's been in contact with Nintendo president, plans to put more Xbox games on Switch 2. Asked directly if Microsoft could remove or amend the apparent partial clause between the Xbox Series X and between X and S, Spencer said via Video Game Chronicles, in a way, I think about it almost exactly the opposite way right now, though. Now, in a way, in my view, I kind of have to agree with Phil Spencer to a certain extent, to a certain degree. I think it would be a mistake for them to drop the Xbox Series S entirely, since, there are a lot of people who do have an Xbox Series S who owns that one as well, and it was also an easier system to find at the time when the Series X was very hard to find, along with the PS5 back then. A lot of that had to do with, the supply chain and all, and some of that had to do with the whole scalper situation as well. So I don't think Microsoft is going to drop the Series S or anything like that. Should there be some modification to some of the clause in terms of that you have to develop for the Series X and S? Maybe, though. Again, I'm not a game developer. I haven't developed the system or anything like that, so I don't know 100%, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility that maybe they can make some adjustments to this, though. And if we're going into the next generation, and if the rumors about the handheld are true, then that's probably something that I think Microsoft needs to take a good look at, though. Maybe modify some of their policy here and there. But I don't buy the argument that don't buy the argument that we should just drop the Series S altogether, though. I think there are a lot of people who own a Series S as well, so I think that it would be a mistake to just drop it entirely, though. So overall, I would say I do have to agree with Phil Spencer to some extent on this, though. I think it would be a mistake to drop the Series S and just focus on the Series X alone. Do I think there may need to be some changes to the policy in terms of you have to have your games on both the Series X and S? I think to some degree, yes. Maybe not a huge change, but some modifications. But I don't entirely disagree with what Phil Spencer is saying. The Series S should not be dropped at all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with a shakeup at PlayStation and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my Two Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the leadership at PlayStation and the what looks like to be a complete change for what their original approach was. Now, ever since Jim Ryan left, I believe it was last year or maybe the year before, I'm not 100% sure, Sony decided to aim for this approach where basically they had two, like one co-chairman, one co-CEO, and the other one is a CEO and everything in charge of the PlayStation system and everything like that. And, well, while it was sort of interesting to see how this idea played out, them being in charge, though, did lead to, let's say, for some folks felt like it led to certain problems that the PlayStation system or the PS5 is in right now. While there's no denying the fact the PS5 continues to sell very well, there has been some criticisms about some of their focus and everything, ranging from a lot of the live services games, ranging from Concord bombing really bad to now reports coming out that there was a God of War live service game developed by Bluepoint that got canceled, and it raised the question of all those resources and money being put into these live services thing. Concord's kind of interesting because this was a game pushed by Herman Holtz, and that one really that one did not go over very well, as we all saw what happened with Concord in general and all. Well, now it seems as though that there is a change in the way the leadership is doing, and there's not going to be the two CEOs that originally was set up after Jim Ryan left and everything like that. In an article from GameSpot, it reads, quote, Sony Interactive Entertainment is switching from the co-CEO system currently occupied by Hideki Nixiano, apologize for not saying that game correctly, and Herman Hutz to just one person in charge. Hideki has been promoted to sole CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment and will step in this role starting April 1st, 2025. Hutz will continue to serve as the CEO of the studio's business group, reported directly towards this person right here. According to CFO Hiroki Tokoki, again, I apologize, I'm not saying that incorrectly. He said, quote, it has been a pleasure working more closely with Herman and this other person and gaining insight into the ever-changing, fast-pacing world of Sony Interactive Entertainment, the CFO said in a press statement. As we hand the baton to NISHINO and this expansional leadership, I am confident that SIE will reach new heights in the days ahead. Both of these guys were originally stepped in as co-CEOs in 2024, taking over the outgoing Jim Ryan. They both said they plan to grow the PlayStation community in new ways, such as IP expansion and technology innovation. The article also pointed out, basically it was a mixed year. Yes, Helldivers 2 was a sleeper hit, but Concord bombed. And of course, there was the whole 12 live service games by 2025 that was now cut in half and everything like that. So they don't give any reason for why this change may have happened. And everything like that. But I would not be surprised if some of that may have to fall in with Concord and how that pretty much did not go over well with Sony in every single way possible. So I think that I would not be surprised if Concord was one of the reasons why they made a change to this. But in either case, though, apparently there will be new leadership up at Sony. It will be very interesting to see what this means going forward to Sony and all. We know that there are several games in development, including the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, I think Ghost of Yohai, if I'm saying the name correctly, and everything like that. So, I mean, it will be very interesting to see what's going to happen going forward. Maybe this will lead to maybe a better output of putting out games because, I mean, the cost of the amount of games that Sony puts out for the first party game, and we've heard reports of how much these games cost, and they're absolutely insane. And maybe it's possible that Astrobot may have told them maybe reevaluate that. I mean, after all, that game did very well, and it won also Game of the Year too. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with this change in leadership. Hopefully this leads to better output for first party games for Sony and everything like that, because I would like to see some of their IPs, like Abe Escape or Dark Cloud or Rogue Galaxy make a comeback and everything like that. Finally, maybe we could see an update to Bloodborne at 60 frames per second, or Bloodborne 2 if that does happen. So time will tell if that will be the case. But overall, it does seem to indicate that the leadership, the double CEO part is now done, and it looks like they're taking a different approach and everything. Excuse me, like that and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with Forza Horizon 5 actually now confirmed for the PS5 and everything like that. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My Two Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Forza Horizon 5 and the very interesting announcement of it finally coming to the PS5 and all. Excuse me. Now, as some of you are aware, Microsoft has taken a different approach this generation in terms of, their console and system and all, and have gone really what many describe as basically going full on multi-platform approach. Now, there has been some debates about this approach. There are those who don't like this approach and those who are all right with this approach indeed. But the big question has always been what does that mean for first-party games, more on the line of games like Forza, Gears, and Halo, whether those games will be making their way to other systems or not. And there are some who don't like this approach and feel that it will defeat the purpose of owning an Xbox, to those who aren't even bothered by this. But regardless of where you are on the fence on this, whether you agree with this approach or not, it seems as though Microsoft is continuing the doubling down on this approach, and it was announced earlier this week that Forza Horizon 5 is going to be coming to the PS5 and everything. In an article from Insider Gaming, it reads that, quote, Xbox and Playground Games has announced that Forza Horizon 5 is coming to the PS5 this spring. Posted to Forza.net, the announcement reads, with nearly 900 cars available in the game, over 40 theme game updates, 2 expansions, and so many more content, our team is excited to announce that this spring, PS5 players will be able to explore Mexico's beautiful roads and experience the Horizon Festival for the first time, as we are officially launching Forza Horizon 5 on PS5. The PS5 version of Forza Horizon 5 is developed by Panic Button, which I believe they did like a Forza Horizon 4 version. I believe they did that one. In partnership with Turn 10 Studios and Playground Games, it will have the same content as the Xbox and PC release of the game. Previously released car packs, as well as the Hot Wheels and Rally Adventure expansion, will also be available for purchase, though. Players can now wishlist Forza Horizon 5 for the PS5 on the PlayStation Store today. So this one is very interesting to see them actually now going to bring this game over to the PS5 and all. With this announcement, I will say that it does now raise the possibility that those rumors about, Halo Master Chief Collection coming to the Switch 2 and the PS5 might be true after all. I mean, if this is going to happen, then I don't think this is going to stop, Microsoft from maybe wanting to put like Halo Infinite on PS5 or the next Halo game or the Gears games that have been rumored. So it's pretty clear there wasn't that red line as some people had thought it would be. I think Spencer kind of downplayed that though. So, I mean, yeah, with this coming to the PS5, I would say that there's a very good chance we could see Halo and we could see something like Fable or Gears make their way over. Now, I'm not saying that's officially going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen at all. One last thing about this is now there are rumors pointing towards this coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, which, again, it is a rumor for now, but given the fact that the PS5 version is being developed by Panic Button, which is also handled the port of Doom and Doom Eternal and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, and given Microsoft's multi-platform approach, as I mentioned about how they are very excited to develop for the Switch 2, I would say, like with Doom the Dark Ages, I do think there is a good chance we could see Forza Horizon 5 come to the Switch too. Not saying it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if it does. So overall, kind of interesting to see Forza Horizon 5 make its way to the PS5. And I will say that it does eliminate that red line, and I would not be shocked if we hear Gears or Halo making their way to the PS5, or even the Switch 2 for that matter, if that ever does happen or not. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the rumors of Doom the Dark Age could be making its way over to the Switch 2? Do you think this rumor is true? Do you believe we could see Doom the Dark Age at some point down the road make its way over to the Switch 2? What are your thoughts about Phil Spencer's comment about the Xbox Series S and how they're not dropping it on? Do you think Phil Spencer is correct on this? Do you think people are blowing this way out of proportion? Or do you think there is justification that they should just drop the Xbox Series S altogether? What are your thoughts about this shakeup leadership at PlayStation though? Do you think this is not really a big deal for some folks out there, or do you feel like maybe the flop of Concord may have played a part in terms of this shakeup at leadership? And what are your thoughts about Forza Horizon 5 coming to the PS5? Do you think this is the right move for Microsoft though? Are you excited to see it come to the PS5? Do you think the rumors of it coming to the Switch 2, it could also be true as well? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me or Patreon or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you watch this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.